Hey coaches, in this video, I'm going to show you how to dominate with the 44 defense. Now the 44 defense is great because you could easily line to any formation. It'll allow you to attack the offense with several different blitzes and stunts. You could be multiple in your coverages. It's great with any coverage. It's great for all age levels, all team skill sets. It's really the ultimate defense in youth football. I mean, I wouldn't run anything other than the 4-4 or 3-5 stack defense in youth football. The rest of them are just, they're just not as good. But I'm going to go through. I'm going to show you how to win with the 44 defense. We're going to go over some alignment stuff because regardless what you do and how aggressive you are on defense, you have to be able to align properly. You can't allow the offense to outnumber or outflank you to any side. And you also have to factor in the wide side of the field and things like that. So I think it's important to go over alignment first, then we'll go over some of the blitzes, and then we'll go through some of the pass coverages. All right, so just a little bit about the formation in itself. All right, features 2 D tackles, 2 D ends, 2 outside linebackers. We label them Rip and Leo. You can label them whatever you want. Middle linebacker, and then strong side backer. They're just 2 inside backers. We're not having this kid go to the strength. They're both inside linebackers. The Rip staying to the right. This kid staying this way. The Leo staying to the left. This kid staying this way. Now, that's not to say that you can't put your better, more athletic linebackers to the field every time. That's a good play too. Let's say they're on the hash, right? Gives you an idea how much more room there is to the field. If you want to swap, have field and boundary players, that's not a bad idea either. We don't, but if we ever had to, because we lack linebackers, we would do that. So, in the youth football, at the end of the day, you always kind of want to protect the field. All right, so we got 4 linebackers, 4 D linemen, 4 linebackers, and 3 secondary players. Our Rip and Leo, they're going to be our edge players. They're always going to set the edge. All right, can't let anything get outside them. Um, inside backers, D tackles, there's 2 of our bigger kids. Okay, we have them on the inside shoulder of the guards. You could put them over the guards. You could cheat them in even a little tighter. If you're worried about a QB sneak or something, it's really up to you. Our D ends, okay, they're in the C gap, right? They're going to be on the outside shoulder of the offensive tackle, so we're going to put them in 5 techniques. When you have that C gap player between your tight end and tackle, it really makes both of them block him. It really creates alignment conflict, and it really helps you anchor against off tackle runs. So having that wide tackle or DN in that C gap is really a tough play and put some stress on the offense. But this is the base alignment versus you got 3-man surface to each side. So it's I formation, double tight with a receiver. If he was a wing, nothing would change here. We have him split out here. So he's going to have A, he's going to have C, these kids are going to have B gap, and these kids are going to contain. I'll go over pass coverage in a little while. But that's just the base alignment versus a balanced formation. Okay, this doesn't really get any more balanced than this. So that's the 44 defense alignment versus balance. Here's it against an unbalanced formation. Okay, let me just change this, make this guy another tight end. Not a no tackle, a tight end. All right, because when teams are heavy unbalanced, this is really like loaded. We call this loaded. We would have to make an overcall. All right, if you look, let's go back to the balance part. The center of the formation's here, which happens to be the center. And then the A gaps, you have the 2 D tackles in the A gaps, right? Now the same thing applies. You want your 2 D tackles in the A gaps over the center of the formation. Okay, this is the center, the kid that plays center, that snaps the ball. That doesn't mean he's the center of the formation. We have a 4-man surface this way and a 2-man surface this way. So honestly, the right guard is the center of the formation. Because let's pretend this is the right guard is the center of the formation. And again, there's a difference between the center that's snapping the ball and the lineman that's the center of the formation. Big misconception in youth football. A lot of coaches don't even think of it like this. All right, so the center of the formation is this right guard because you have a 3-man surface here and you have a 3-man surface here. And then you got 2 wing backs too. The backfield's very unbalanced as well, so that's tough. But our D tackles, they're going to be in this gap. Okay, essentially for us, this is the new A gap. You know, like because this is the center, so these kids will be on the inside, outside shoulder of the center. Okay, the lineman that's the center of the formation. So we would just go over. So essentially, to sum it up, everyone would just go over one technique. Okay, to basically go over one gap. If he's here, he's gonna be here. Okay, if he's here, he's gonna be right here on his outside shoulder of the center. Okay, so move these guys back a little bit so it's nice and even. All right, so that's the overcall. Everyone's just moving over one gap. Okay, this kid, if it was balanced, let's say they have a third player here, he's just moving down here. You have the rip linebacker, 𝐃𝐞𝐟𝐞𝐧𝐬𝐞 can press down too, outside shoulder, this tight end. You also have corner help here. All right, so you are pretty strong to the weak side. When we get an overcall, we like to bring our outside linebacker up on the outside shoulder of the tight end. All right, he is no longer forcing the play. Okay, our contained player will be this kid. So he's going to have here, he's 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 here. So you got all the gaps accounted for. You can even bump these guys out. It really depends on the type of formation they are, like how heavy they are. Maybe this kid's under center. Maybe they had an I formation, so you don't want to commit your backs too much. All right, because you do, since the backfield's unbalanced, you do have to match the backfield unbalance with your second, third level players. Definitely want your safety to cheat over to the strength. Well, I mean, if this tight end's good, then you could have him help here. But honestly, they have all their passing threats here. So that's basically our overcall, guys. If you really want to be strong against it, you could do this. If you want to use your corner more, so that'll really help you match numbers to the strength here. So it's really up to you guys how you guys want to do it. But we just have an overcall, and everyone just moves over one more gap. That's essentially it. All right, so you can't allow the offense to outnumber, outflank you to one side. So if you don't adjust this, the offense is just going to gut you. Then you still need to match numbers. You still got a +1 backside, right? 3/2. So if they do come back the other way with some kind of counter or misdirection or reverse, you still have strong numbers there. All right, so that's the overcall. All right, let's get into some alignment versus spread. All right, the alignment does vary if you're playing zone and man, like it is different. But right now, for time's sake, let's say we're in man coverage. We'll go over pass coverage in a little while, which I'm not going to go over too much because I have a really good video we created about how to play cover 3 in the 4-4, which I'll put on the screen, and then you could check it out at the end of the video. It'll have an end screen where you could go back and watch that cover 3 video, which I highly recommend. It's really good. After you watch it, I guarantee you'll want to play cover 3. There isn't a better breakdown of cover 3 for youth football on the web than that video. All right, so definitely check that out. But here's alignment versus, let's start spreading the field a little bit. We got 2x1 here. I got 2 receivers, 1 tight end. Playing man, so our corner would have inside leverage here. This outside backer would also have inside leverage here. So he'll have him. Make sure you stagger these kids in case they run some kind of rub or pick routes. Okay, these kids don't get picked. So always stagger them a little bit and make sure this corner has inside leverage, especially if this kid's very wide. Okay, there's nowhere for him to go outside. He's either going to go vertical or bang a route back in. So make sure we hold inside leverage here. Pass strength is to the left, so I do like to cheat the safety. Again, the tight end's really good, or you want to double cover them or have safety help over the top, you can. That's a game by game plan by game plan thing. So that's whatever you want to do it. This is just base alignments. All right, so the outside linebacker would bump out and cover number 2. Our rip linebacker would be our force player. Okay, he'll have any back swinging out of the backfield, and our corner will have the tight end, which is the number 1 receiver on this side. So you could even have this kid cheat in more. Okay, he has the tight end, he has him. Back swings this way, the sandbacker has him. All right, so that's alignment versus 2x2. Here's alignment by 3x1. 3x1's a tough formation, man. It pulls defenders out of the box. And even if it's even a 3-by-1 with the nub tight end is just even nastier. That creates a lot more conflict for the defense. But if you're man coverage, we would match it like this. Corner takes one, outside linebacker takes two. And when I say 1-2, we label the widest receivers number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, and then number 1 on this side. So that's kind of how we would have. So our corner would have 1, our rip linebacker would bump out, and he would have 2. He's going to play with a slight inside leverage, and our Mike linebacker is going to play straight up because a lot of times you'll get an out from 3, and we want to be able to cover it. And then you want to stagger these guys as well. So if they run some kind of mesh or anything where they're crossing or they run switch releases, these kids don't bump into each other. You really have an angle to cover your guy on a switch or a pick or a rub. All right, to make sure they're staggered. Now we'll keep the same structure for our D linemen. Nothing changes, and nothing changes for our inside backers. Now, if you want to keep your box strong and maybe go to more so of a 3-4 look here, you can do that. You can do this. Bump the safety down, play zero coverage across the board if you want. You have some options there too. If you're going to play cover 3, we would split the difference here, and we play it like this. So why I like cover 3 against trips is because we still have this player. He's going to split the difference. When I say split the difference, he's going to play between the left tackle and the Z. So he's going to kind of be in the middle of them. So he could still insert himself on runs. If it's perimeter screen, we could pursue, and he's basically got his hook to curls on. So that's how I would play cover 3 over 3-by-1. So that's alignment versus 3-by-1. Let's talk about an over front. Okay, a lot of teams will have over and under fronts. An over front basically means that you are putting a 3 technique to the strength of the formation, and then the other D tackles in like a 1 technique to the weak side. Okay, if it was an under call, the 3 tech would be to the weak side, and the 1 tech would be to the strength. So we're in an over call here. Here's the over front. So you have your 3 technique. That's a 1. If he was here, it'd be 1. If it was over the guard, it'd be 2. If he's here, it'd be a 3 technique. So we're basically on the outside shoulder of the guard. We're going to keep our DN in a 5 here. He's going to still be in that C gap. What the over front does, it makes it a little bit stronger to the strength, right? Instead of getting your D tackle shooting A gap here, you have him, have B gap, and then being a little bit more stronger and bigger at the point of attack in case they run power or any kind of play to the 3-man surface or to the wing back tight end flank. So you can have an over front. You could just say over left and they just move over. Nothing changes for your linebackers. You're moving your defensive line. All right. And there's a lot of great games you could play in regard to stunts and blitzes at an over front. That's what I like about it. You have him here. From here, you could do this and then this. A lot of nasty, simple stuff you can do out of an over front. So you could play some stunts. You could slant the DN. You could loop him. You could slant the DN in. You could slant down. Both kids slant down. Send this kid here. A lot of options here. But that's the over front. Basically, it's good against formations with the 1 tight end. So you put the over front to the 3-man surface or to the tight end side. Here's goal line. I figure I hop in goal line while we're here. What we would do is we'll take out our safety. We'll either put in another defensive lineman, or if we have a linebacker, we'll put in another linebacker. If your safety could come up and make a tackle, you could put him at one of these linebacker spots. But we basically take our safety out and try to put in another linebacker. If we don't have another linebacker, we'll take a safety out and we could put him. Let's pretend this kid is not a linebacker. We take out a free safety. We put in another D lineman. Then it would look like this. All right, so if that's how you want to do it too. We ideally like to have 3 linebackers because we don't want to put everyone on the line of scrimmage on goal line because you have no one to run to the ball. If everyone's on the line of scrimmage and they run this way, there's no one to run to the ball. So I like matching the 3-man surface with 3 defensive linemen, having corners kind of in like an overhang look. They'll have the tight end if they releases, and then you still have 3 linebackers to pursue to the ball. So you have a cutback linebacker and you have two linebackers to meet the play at the point of attack. So this is my preference with goal line. All right, guys, getting some of the fun stuff, right? I'm just gonna I'll give you a couple blitzes here. I'm not gonna go over too many. And guys, we have a really nasty 44 stack playbook. Let me show you that real quick while we're here before we get into these blitzes. Um, sorry, advertisements. All right, guys, here's the 44 stack defense playbook. It's got 5-star reviews. All right, coaches love it. It's great for all age levels. You're able to attack the defense in multiple blitzes and stunts. Got all kinds of great stuff here. Great defense. Again, it's great for all age levels, and it will give your team an identity. So definitely, if you're interested in running a 44 stack, I'd highly recommend you check this out. Playbook won't disappoint. I promise you that. Now let's get into the fun stuff here. All right. Before I get into pass coverage, we're going to go over our blitzes. This is our favorite blitz, a rip. We call it crossfire. Rip means we're running crossfire to the right. If this was Leo crossfire, we're running the same stuff to the left. So rip here, our D end. A lot of times he's going to have C gap, right? I was just talking about how he's that big, strong C gap anchor. So he plays C gap, C gap, C gap, and then once he slants to B, and the mic has C gap, it creates confusion. I guarantee you, any offense, they won't block this up. This is very difficult for youth football offensive linemen to blitz up, to block. Install this blitz, and I promise you, I guarantee you, when you look at film, they will not be able to block this. One of these three kids will be free, if not two of them. All right, so basically, this is simple, like really gap exchange. You know, pre-snap, he has C, he has B, right? That's our base defense. Now, when we throw this crossfire at him, now he has B and he has C. So and then we're sending this kid off the edge. Now, before I get into the cross stuff, it's very important to understand that, especially if you're running this to the wide side of the field, any edge blitzer has to play what we call a peel technique. If one of these backs swings out and it's pass, this is a very good run blitz. All right, you got to watch against the pass here. If one of these backs swing out, we have to peel off and cover him because we can't just blitz ourselves out of the play. They're going to swing it, and then, we have some problems. So we have to play peel techniques on this, all right? And you could, the kids aren't whatever age you're coaching, you could play the peel technique and teach them, all right? So basically, they're just eyeing this back, and then if he doesn't peel or he run fakes inside, you're still just attacking. All right, so now our DN is going to dip and rip. He's slanting to B. Make sure when he slants, all right, we want to kind of rip through the inside shoulder of this left tackle. We don't want to go around blocks. We kind of want to run through them. Because a lot of times, and this is something we struggled with early on when we were running this stuff, was that every time we slant, there was times where our slanter, the kid that's slanting inside this DM, was getting washed down. Okay, so he was dipping and ripping, but he wasn't strong. He wasn't anchoring his gap. He was getting washed down, and it was creating a huge seam for the offense. So the back would just bang it back in. So we can't allow ourselves to get washed down. We want to dip that near shoulder, rip through, square up, and anchor the B gap. Now, as soon as the quarterback begins his cadence, the Mike backer is going to show blitz over the B gap, which we have a simple Mike call where he's going to blitz the B gap. So we're going to show blitz over the B gap, which is going to create confusion. Once the ball is snapped, this kid's slanting B. He's going to blitz right off his butt to C gap. And then this kid's going to maintain the edge, and he is still a force player. Yes, he is blitzing off the edge, but essentially it's to hold that tight end, guys. He still needs to make sure he sets the edge and plays a peel technique. All right, and then the cornerback would have the tight end here in man coverage. All right, so that's our crossfire blitz. Really nasty. It's really all you need, guys. All right, here's something we call crossfire where I think we call this Alabama crossfire or Alabama rip or something. I forgot exactly what we called it. But this is sending 6. All right, we're going to maintain this crossfire to the right side. A lot of times we just call crossfire, rip crossfire. And then we would just tag Sam. We would just say rip crossfire, Sam. And that'll tell Sam he's blitzing B gap. Crossfire means these two kids are gap exchanging. So he's going to dip and rip, and he's coming off the edge here. And guys, you could very well easily run it to both sides. You could slant this kid, blitz, and have him cross outside. Now, I do like running this to the wide side of the field, and I do like running this to the boundary because it allows our middle linebacker to be little bit closer to the field because teams do run to the wide side of the field more so. So I do like having backers towards the wide side. If you could see like this backside backer, even though he's let's say he's to the boundary, he's still closest to the wide side. And this is the wide side. We want our better athlete, okay, who our middle linebacker can be a better athlete than our DN here. So we want him outside. Hope that makes sense for you guys. But here's a crossfire blitz where we tag the Sam, okay, and tell him to blitz. And again, we're just going to play man across the board. He's playing peel technique, okay, especially if he's to the wide side of the field. This back flares out, we have to take him. All right, if you want, you could play zero coverage and you say you want this kid to stay aggressive, just go attack. Have the safety roll down and have him take the back, okay, or have him roll down a little bit, cover the back. As soon as he goes, he could go up and catch him. So it's really what you want to do. If you want to play zero coverage, that's a good option too. All right, let's get into we're gonna call it Mike Crossfire. All right, so our Mike backer here. It's essentially the same thing. We're doing a crossfire. It's an interior crossfire. Okay, this was an off tackle edge crossfire, the one I just showed. This one's an interior crossfire. So in our base defense, right? He has A gap, he has B. So when we run our crossfire, same rules apply. Everything I talked about technique wise for these kids is doing it. The outside crossfire, the rip crossfire, same thing applies, except we're dipping and ripping through the outside shoulder of the guard, anchoring our gap. Don't get washed out, okay? Don't get pushed out. Got to maintain our gap and anchor, okay? We don't want to run ourselves too far outfield. We don't want to get washed outside. Pre-snap, linebacker creeps up, acts like he's going to show, blitz through B gap, slants off the butt, attacks the A gap. And guys, again, I guarantee you, if you run this, the offense will not pick it up. I promise you that. Run this blitz, go back and look on it at film. If you execute it the way I'm telling you, and you set it up by having him have A gap, him have B gap every time, the one time you change it up, it's going to be unblockable. There's no youth football offensive line that's going to pick this up, guys. Me as an offense coordinator, I'm telling you right now, I would have problems with this. And if any coach is more likely to be able to pick this up or will pick this up, would be me. And I'm telling you right now, this would be a tough blitz for us to stop. This is a nasty. The 44 defense is nasty, man, because you get a lot of great blitz combinations out of this. All right, pass coverage. Could be multiple in your pass coverage. You could play cover one, all right, which is I think the best coverage for this. You'd have him back. Quarter, if the back goes this way, he takes him. So we're in a man-free look with a post play. So it's cover one. Play cover one. You can play cover three. I like that. You could play zero coverage. You want to keep your box strong and you think you could lock up here, go zero coverage. You could play press man. When you play press man, everyone plays with inside leverage. We do like our Rip and Leo to play a little bit more square because so many times you'll get an out from two or a corner out from two. So we don't like to be out leveraged too much on that. Especially like, keep this in mind too, guys. If we have a post player, if we're square, yeah, he has room to have a nice end break, right? But we do have a post player, so we do have a little help. So for me, we're always going to get an outlet from two most of the time. He may go vertical if he does whatever. We just turn and run with him, or we get a corner out. So that's why I do like playing a little bit more square. You can have these kids have inside leverage. You could just, if you're playing man, take away the inside. Great rule. It's kind of rule of thumb, right? But that's zero coverage there. What we like to do too is if teams know they have to, if we know like it's 4th and 20 or the game's on the line, it's late in the fourth or something, like we don't want to get beat on a big pass, we would go with two safety look. So we would do this. We'd kind of split the difference here and then not be as strong to the boundary. Then we would play cover four. All right, so everyone we would play, this is basically prevent, guys. Oh, sorry. Tool, this one. Here, 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 here. So that's kind of our cover four look. A lot of times it's only in really long down and distances where we would go two safeties. Here we just don't want to get beat deep, guys. All right, so I'm not going to go over too much with pass coverage. If you want to learn how to play cover 3 and man coverage, we have a really good video. As I said earlier, the 44 defense playing cover 3, really good video. Be sure to check that out. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. 44 defense is great for all age levels of football, and it'll really allow you to attack the offense, create chaos.